What's going on, House Nation? Everyone out there on Instagram Live. Welcome to another Real Talk. I'm just over here in my studio. You guys can probably see my in progress of the graffiti. Just, what day are we today? Today is Tuesday, I think. Yes, Tuesday. And I got somebody who's going to join me right now for some Real Talk. Let's go with my man, Eats Everything. Let's see.
Hello,
Hey,
mate. You good?
how's it going, mate? You good?
Good, you?
I'm good, man. I'm over here in my studio. You can see, getting my graffiti on
I know,
in
mate.
my little home
Good
studio.
man. I'm in my studio too. You can see.
Yeah, I saw the pictures earlier. You finally got it up again, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, that's looking wicked, mate.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah. Sorry about my hair. I've got like lockdown time studio
Listen,
hair.
I have no hair. I have no hair, so I don't go through that. I
I
got a
like
hat.
it. Sometimes I wish I was bold. You know.
Well, you can do it. You can actually go bald, but I don't think you really want that.
I'm just a bit scared. I reckon I'd look a bit of a meathead, to be fair. But I'll give it a go.
Nah, you'd be good. You'd be good. How's it
How you
going,
doing
mate?
anyway, mate? How's it treating you? Lockdown and that.
You know what? I was going to ask you the same thing. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of changes that we've all got to go through. No touring, as you know, kind of like big kind of meat and potatoes of what we do is with
Yeah.
touring. So that's been an interesting adjustment. What it has meant for me personally is the first time in I don't know how long I can remember, I'm actually taking downtime at home.
Mm.
I've been definitely getting a lot healthier. I've dropped about 30 pounds, and I've been, doing yoga, paddleboarding, fasting, and kind of getting everything on point with that. Kind of shifted my diet a little bit more and gotten a little bit more into the more vegetarian oriented stuff, even though I still
Wow,
eat like
really? Fair
chicken
play
and
to you.
stuff like that. So, and then getting back into it took a second though to get back into my production mode, my music making mode, just because like you probably experienced it. Like the first couple of weeks was a bit of a shock to the system. And it took a second for me to get my creative
Yeah.
music vibe going. So I started painting.
Yeah.
Back to my graffiti world.
Mate, they're fucking amazing paintings. I love them, man. They're so cool.
Like I'm trying to keep up with Goldie. That boy is a G when it
Oh,
comes to
mate,
this.
I
So.
love watching his stories, man.
Oh,
He's
he's brilliant.
so funny, and he's so fucking talented. He's so unbelievably talented. Like,
He's a wicked dude. The last time I saw him was when my girl Kristen and I were playing in Phuket because he's in Thailand and not a bad place
yeah.
to kind of sort yourself out to live. And he's genuinely a proper geezer, man. He's like
Yeah,
a
no, he is.
real
Yeah,
good guy.
he's a sound guy,
Love him.
man.
Shout out to Goldie, man, if
And
you're checking
Goldie, you
in.
won't be watching, but you never know.
And you never know. He might be up.
Yeah.
How have you been, mate? What have you been up to, like on lockdown mode? What
I
did you
mean,
do?
do you know what? I moved my studio back home. When I say studio, I just took my speakers home and the MIDI keyboard, and that was literally it. And you know what? I was the most productive I've been in years in lockdown. I made, I don't know, 40, 50 tunes, I reckon. Easy. All
Oh,
different
wicked.
styles, house, techno, drum and bass, two-step garage. I made everything. I just was like,
Wicked.
it feels a little bit like the rules have gone a little bit out of the window. Like,
And it's good that it's gone out the window at this time.
yeah, man. Yeah, because it felt like, you were getting, everything was getting, I might be wrong here, but it felt a bit like everything was getting a little bit pigeonholy and like you couldn't do this, you couldn't
Formulaic.
do that. If you were playing this, you could only play this. And I've never sort of subscribed to that. I've always played and done what I
Yeah.
want. But yeah, this has been like, it's been loads of freedom to just make fucking loads of music, man. And then now being back in the studio proper, I can just come in and make sure it sounds okay. And you know what? Like having so much time at home, family, with my son, my wife, just relaxed, mate. And sleeping like 8 hours a
How
night
is the family,
every
by the way?
night. It's
How
amazing,
is the
mate.
family?
Yeah, they're great. They're great. I've got another one on the way. That's due in
Oh,
September.
congrats. Is that a lockdown baby?
Yeah, big time. So it's been like a fucking mad learning curve for loads of reasons, and like sleeping. I mean, I've slept like the best I've slept in fucking years,
It,
literally.
it's 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 really. I don't think people really wrap their heads around how much of programming we are from being on the road. And as we love what we do, I know you love what you do, and every time I see you, I always feel that energy whenever you're playing. Um, but life on the road is always difficult when it comes to keeping yourself at your best and your healthiest and kind of like your most level. And it sounds like to me, you're experiencing kind of what I've experienced.
Yeah,
This enforced shutdown mode has made you kind of, it looks like it's made you reassess things a bit
yeah.
and kind of time for yourself. Let me ask you a question. Do you think you're going to want to go back to the previous hectic pace anytime soon? It's going to be a minute before we can actually do that. But would you want to go back to that pace now, or do
I
you
don't
think
know,
that this
man.
kind of
I've
shifted your
I've
vibe a
I've
bit?
I discussed this with my managers, my agent, and I'm not sure. I'm not sure I do want to go back to that crazy 4 or 5 gigs a weekend, DJing Thursday to Monday. You know, it's quite tough. And having this time at home, look,
Yeah.
I've done some shitty jobs in my life, and they're tougher than being a DJ for a living. I can tell you that
Yeah.
for a fact. But I definitely, I reckon I've added years to my life. From this
Yeah.
lockdown, I think I've added a few
I
years to my
agree.
life. I've been riding my bike every day, like 20 miles a day, and fucking just really like. I'm not going to say I've eaten that healthily. I've eaten pretty healthily. I generally eat fairly healthy anyway, but it's the no boozing.
Happy life.
Yeah, I did. The no boozing's the thing for me that's really helped me.
Yeah.
I've not really been
Yeah.
drinking. I don't really drink when I'm at home. I'm not like a guy that sits and has like 4 or 5 beers a night at home.
Yeah.
I only drink when I'm out or when I'm DJing, and I haven't been able to do either of those. So I've been pretty sober most of the time, which is
But
fucking cool.
you know what it is as well. Is like now having real sleep and getting a routine on. It just makes you want to be just more present. And I know drinking on the road for a lot of people is just because when you're on the road, you're alone all the time, you're confident to go. A lot of people, that's how they take the edge off, mate. You know, and as wonderful as it is to do what we do and love playing in front of the treadmill, that hamster wheel, man, it gets hardcore. And it's not like I'm going boo hoo, oh, we have it so tough. But there are some real things to consider. And I think that this particular time, for me personally, is the healthiest I've been, which is crazy compared to what the hell else is going on in the rest of the world.
Yeah, I
There's a
know.
shit show out there.
This is the
But, but, you got to take positives out of shit like this. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
this is the thing. There is a lot of positive. Look, I don't want to be misquoted at all. Like this is a fucking horrible disease, and it's fucking shit that people are dying. Really, and it's awful what's happening. But you have to take the positives, the personal positives from it. And I've got to say there are a lot of positives. I've lost a fair bit of money as you have, and there's
Yeah.
there are some negative issues to how it's affected our careers, but
Yeah.
on a personal level, for me, it's been pretty fucking good. I would like to just go to a club a couple of times and just have a fucking little bit of a rave up.
You know what it is? It's like I will say this: when they finally allow us to get together and rave, what a rave that's going to be,
Oh,
mate!
mate, I can't fucking wait because I've seen
Because
videos of some
you
of these.
appreciate it.
Yeah, mate, and everyone's going to be so up for it, so up for getting off
Yeah.
their heads and just having a lovely time. And yeah, it's a strange one because I want it to get back to normal, but I'm also really enjoying how it is right now. Do you know what I mean?
Well, let me tell you this. This is one of the things that I've discovered. So obviously, just like you said, from a business perspective, this has really grinded a lot of wheels to the halt. I'm not going to lie. Like financially, it's completely knocked a lot of things that I had going on, just as I'm sure as it has done for you,
Yeah.
and for a lot of people. And then a lot of people have it way worse than us. Who can't really eat or anything. The one thing I'll say is that in a way, the best aspect of this is once you adjust to the difference in income and your spending, and you now realize that you have more quality time, it will allow you now to make those choices moving forward, because what's
Yeah,
happening is everybody has to adjust to this new lifestyle, which means
totally.
funds are different, but your life is different. From here on, I think the lesson for me personally is I'm looking at how to adjust my business so I can bring in some income, but learn how to live with less, but live better. Is that something you kind of coming across too?
Yeah, man. Yeah, totally. I've been. It's mad how when you don't have money to spend, when you can't spend money on stuff, how little money
Yeah,
you actually spend, and like
yeah.
it makes you realize how much fucking money you waste on shit that you don't need.
It's about.
The amount of shit I bought, it's ridiculous. I've got like piles of stuff that I'm never gonna. You buy it and then
It sits
it
there.
basically just fucking it just doesn't get used. So yeah, I mean, for me, I'm gonna definitely, I definitely have to be a bit more sensible, and I think this has kind of helped me along that way. To be fair.
And I got to be honest, it's like making, being forced to take the time out and being forced to reassess things can actually be a good thing for a lot of us, because I know I wouldn't have slowed down. I just had my whole thing running, mapping, and summertime, and obviously this is when we're in Ibiza, we're touring around Europe, all the festivals, and so on and so forth. But this time this year, it's kind of like an enforced, not quite a holiday, but like a reset. And I think this is actually helping for me personally, some of the creative stuff, because just like you said, mate, I agree with you. I think things are getting a bit pigeonholed before. I think people are getting locked in cycles because this is what works and these are what expectations are. And I think once
Yeah.
you throw that out the window, you feel free. That you can do
Yeah.
anything.
I mean, for me, my romantic vision of how it's going to be when it comes back is there's going to be, first of all, we're going to be back in smaller clubs and stuff
Yes.
like that, and
Yes.
the crowds are going to be much more mixed because everyone's so desperate to go out. It's going to be like, I mean, I've said this to you when we've been in person, but still one of my favorite nights I ever went out was you, Sneak, and Junior at
Yes.
Lakota in Bristol. This Budweiser
That
night
was
when
wicked.
you were in
Yes.
the cage on the stage, and it was fucking like an amazing party. And
That was our first S-Men tour. You know that, right? That
yeah,
was
yeah,
a
yeah.
very, that
It
was
was like early
94.
1997, I think. Was
90,
it
no,
early?
94. That was
Oh,
94.
fucking hell.
Going
Okay.
back.
Wow. I was
That's the
really
gray in my beard.
I was really young then. I
Yeah.
basically, and for me, because like Lakota back in those days was just, it was kind of a gay club, really, almost. Do you know what I mean? But it
Yeah,
was
yeah.
full of every kind of person: black, white, straight, gay, lesbian, whatever. Every
Everyone.
single and it was so mixed, and it was so fucking. The atmosphere was so fucking
Yeah, wicked.
electric every time. And
Just
like
open.
obviously, you went all around the world. Then I only got to experience the clubs in the UK, but they were so mixed. And as time's gone on, it's got less and less mixed. And my romantic vision is that now, once we get back into life again, and there won't be so many clubs, and there won't be but people will want to be going out more because they haven't been out.
Yeah.
That everyone's going to just
Yeah.
have to mix together, and it's going to be like the '90s again. That's my hope.
I think when you push people apart and you force them to stay apart, when they finally get together again, you're gonna feel that energy that was there when we first got together, when the rave scene first exploded, when it was so many
Yeah,
different people because it was something new. This is going to be a new version of it. There's going to be people coming up that we haven't heard of before. That are come up during this time, and then
yeah,
people like yourself, like myself, and Sneak, and lots of other guys that are still being out there, present and doing stuff. I just did my podcast, The Hustle, with Fatboy Slim, with Norman, and we were
yeah,
just
yeah.
talking about you and him driving around doing the carpool karaoke, which is
Yeah,
wicked.
fucking
Um,
stupid, man.
and but I love that, and see stuff like that I think people are really going to appreciate when we finally get together again and start doing it. And he's the same thing you did, which I agree. I think it's going to go back to like the early '90s, 200 cap small venues, because it's going to by base default, we're going to have less people in one place. But I think that's going to
man.
ramp up the appreciation. It's definitely going to collapse DJ fees for a minute. Maybe some of them need to be collapsed for a minute.
Yeah,
Maybe
mate,
they
I
need to
agree
get back to
totally.
that root.
I agree. It's crazy. Some of the money that gets banded about is fucking mental. Like, it's insane.
Yeah. And it's reset time for all that shit, man. You know, it's reset time. Yeah. But here's the thing. What I do think right now is creativity has a premium. I love hearing the fact that you're doing so many different genres and stuff. Your track Honey, by the way, love it.
Mate,
I'm
thank
killing
you.
it in my live stream, man. Love that.
Thanks, mate. Big up. Yeah, it's one I did it to.
Proper dirty old school Jack and shit with with kind of like the runway drag queen scene vocals.
That's it.
Miss Honey?
Yeah, Miss Honey. I've made a few more like that actually. I've got this amazing vocalist called Franco Harris, who's it was a battle chanter in NYC, but he lives in London now.
Yeah.
And he did me a load of vocals a few years ago, like sort of cunty vocals and that kind of thing.
You gotta send me those. We'll collab on one, or send me one for the
Yeah, mate. I've got
for my E76 under the radar, man.
Yeah, mate. I'll send you because there's 4 and I've used 3. So there's one still there. So I'll send it to you when we get off, and you can crack on with it and then send it back.
Wicked. There's a track that you and I have been talking about on our collab tip, which I'm finally going to get around to talking about. But you're the one who kind of brought the idea up.
It's amazing. One of the best piano riffs ever.
That was from my Kathy Sledge remix of "Take Me Back to Love," and I created that one with a guy named James Preston who plays the keyboard. So I'm
what was that, like 1992?
That was like 1990. No, a little bit later, like 94, 95.
Actually, oh, really? I'm just having a look now.
Have a look.
Back to Love, isn't it?
It's been a minute.
But it's fucking, the vocal and the piano was so fucking good in that. Yeah, I really, really, really want to.
We could probably get Kathy. We could probably get Kathy to recut vocals for that.
Yeah, because
I'm still in touch with her.
Yeah, I know. She's obviously doing stuff now with Horse Beat Disco and stuff, so she's kind of feels like she's a bit back in the game, in the dance music sphere game. Do you know what I mean?
It's kind of come back around to like the disco vibes, vocals, and I think now more than ever, I'm seeing that, like that want of soul.
Yeah, man, totally.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. So we're gonna, for all those watching now, wait for that one. Myself and the Eats man, we're doing one with that piano riff. I'm gonna hit up Kathy and see if she wants to get down on it.
Yeah, mate. What have you actually started on it?
I just started laying down the piano again, and started with some. But I want to develop a little bit further because I had a couple of remixes come in that I had to do. I just finished the remix for Furious's cover version of "Follow Me," which is funny because I remixed the original one by Elias back in the '90s. So I've done it. I just done the remix of that. Just so it's done more. And then I've got another remix that I'm doing this week, and then I'm back on my original. So that's one of the first ones that I'm jumping back on.
Fucking, let's do it. Let's do it.
It's on. It's on. So are you seeing things starting to open up in the UK now? Because I'm seeing something coming.
I've got like a couple of. I've got a gig. Malta, weirdly, is still. Malta's not been affected, so BPM's there. There's a few drum and bass raves in Malta. I've got a couple of like drive-in gigs in around the country.
Some things are popping up and opening up over there, right?
Yeah, a little bit, but nothing like proper. I'm DJing at my hometown club, Lakota, in the outside bod, Lakota, where you've played before. I'm playing like disco all day long on the 24th of July, disco and boogie and stuff all day long from like 4 until I think 11 in the outside area. So
I'm seeing more of that. Man. I'm seeing more of that, like that love of the disco vibe come back.
Yeah, I mean,
really more in terms of like a broad.
I've always been into it. It's been something that I've ever since. Well, I think where my love for disco and boogie started was house tracks in the early 90s. where the sample's from. Do you know what I mean? What's this?
Yep, yep.
Yes, where my love kind of came from. Really, I'd go hunting for the samples, and then you realise
Sorry,
that
guys.
but then you realise that basically these records come from this, and then you start hunting. Oh, well, this artist did
Yeah.
this, so and that's how my kind of love for disco and like. But I think I actually prefer boogie. If I'm honest, if I'm absolutely honest, I think boogie's my favorite. Just that like early
A little bit more
'80s
of the funk side, right?
electronic boogie stuff. That's like yeah,
Yeah. Okay. Electro boogie joint.
yeah, baby.
Oh man, see that's the interesting. That's an interesting sound that really kind of came out of like the South End from New York. That kind of then later on turned into freestyle, but it was kind of like that electro
Yeah, that
breakdance.
yeah, it was kind of what electro. It's kind of a fusion of disco and electro, isn't it? It's more
Yeah,
electronic than disco, but with the same kind of the same relaxed sort of groovy vibe that perhaps
guys,
electro's a bit harsher and a bit more slamming and
yeah,
a little less musical and a little
more
more just
like
having it.
the early Mantronics, Warp Nine, the type of
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
man.
yeah. See, it's an interesting just the different sources of sound that make up our kind of musical diet as we came up to then be the stuff that we reuse or
Yeah,
we take that flavor and put it into what we're working on now.
yeah, man. It's for me. I'm always I sample a lot. Do you know what I mean? A lot of the music I make is sampled, or I'll get something and replay it and then put my own spin on it. And I think all the best music for me is a sample of something. All my favorite house records are pretty much a resample of something and then done in a special way. Do you know what I mean?
The reinterpretation of sound
Yeah, yeah.
that basically
Reinterpretation. That's a
provide
good
the
way of putting it.
basis for what house and techno and everything is right now that we love.
Yeah,
And one of the things that I really appreciate about what you do is your productions always are just that raw, dirty sound, but there's always an element of funk or soul, even in the hardest tracks that you do. One of the things I really love about what you've been doing.
yeah, man. I always try and keep a bit of a party vibe. I'm a party DJ at the end of the day. Do you know what I mean? That's what I've always
Yeah.
been. I'm never too much like yourself. Like your main focus is to make sure that the people on the dance floor are having the best time they possibly can. And if I've got to go one way or the other, then I'm happy to do that because that's my job to make people dance. And so for me, making music, I treat the same way. My ultimate gain is to make as many people dance as possible. And like, you don't always get it right, but I get the odd one that does all right. So
Listen, mate, it's always about what comes from the heart. That's what always works.
yeah,
I
totally.
got some questions that people want to ask, so you good to answer a couple of questions,
Yeah,
bro.
of course. Yeah, yeah.
Well, I don't know if you're familiar with Horatio, one of the artists on my label as
Yeah, I
well,
love
Wicked
Horatio.
Producer. He asked, "How did you find your name eats everything?"
Because I eat a lot and I play everything. Simple.
That's pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah, I mean,
Isn't it?
I don't eat quite as much as I used to be fair, when I came up with a name. But yeah, it's just because I play. I literally have a collection of every style of music, so I just can play it all, and I like to eat. So that's it. It's as simple as that, mate.
Does anybody have any questions you want to ask? My man eats everything. Let's see what we got. And I mean, in the meantime, hopefully, I can tell you right now. Unfortunately, I don't know when I'm going to be heading back out to Europe because there's a bit of a ban on Americanus non gratis right
Well, yeah,
now to Europe.
your man Trump's fucking
Oh, don't get me started, man.
yeah, mate.
Agent
We don't need to
Agent
get
Or,
political.
Agent Orange um, is not making a good show of it. So it
No,
doesn't
he's
look
not,
like
mate. He's really
yeah,
not.
bloody hell. But unfortunately, it might be a second before we get out to Europe. But hopefully, I might get out to Europe soon. If not, there's definitely the live streams. I know you've been doing some.
Yeah, man. We should. Is there a way of doing like a back-to-back live stream? I've
Yeah,
not seen
actually,
anyone.
well, you know what? There's some different technology. I was actually talking to my man DJ Scribble, who's been doing some stuff. So I'm looking at a couple of different platforms. I've been working on, been doing this Rogers Request Line platform, live stream on this platform called Future Stream, which
Yeah.
is really cool because I'm doing it in conjunction with different charities and stuff like that. But I think the technology definitely exists. I just want to find which is the best one so that if I get you in, there's no lag time and no
This
delay
is the
because that's
thing.
always the thing
Yeah,
that screws it up.
you need the bandwidth, don't you, basically? And you need to make sure where you're doing it, the internet's really good for starters. And yeah, you imagine having a lag. So I'm trying to mix into your record and fucking, I'm half a second out. It'd be a nightmare.
We're trying to figure out how to make that work because I definitely want to see us kind of do some of those back to backs live stream.
Yeah,
Somebody's
it'd be
asking.
cool if you could do that. One, it's someone in
There,
America,
there,
someone in England.
there are. I gotta ask, which is what he's using because he said he was able to do it and he didn't have any real lag time. So I think that's cool. Or it might just be coming in. So sorry about that.
Yeah,
Um,
no worries, mate.
it might be a situation of me playing and then getting you on as a guest. Somebody was asking what DAW you're using and how has it changed over the years.
I use Ableton. I've used Ableton. I started off on Pro Tools years ago, and then like in like late '90s, early 2000s, and then I switched to a bit of Pro Tools and Reason, and then pretty much all Reason. And then when Live came out, Live One, I switched to Live, and then I kind of did Reason with a bit of Live, and then Reason and Live 50/50, then Live with a bit of Reason, and then just sacked off Reason. And then since about 2003, 2004, all I've used
Ableton,
is
right?
Live, basically. I think it's like um, the sound quality is not the greatest when but what I do is I bounce all the stems when I finish a tune. I stem it out, and then I put the
And
stems
then mix it down
into
different
Pro
songs.
Tools
And then mix it down.
and then I give it a boost in Pro Tools because yeah, you don't you kind of lose Ableton has a way of sort of compressing the everything
Yeah,
together, whereas
yeah.
Pro Tools doesn't have that. I don't like using Pro Tools. It's a pain in the ass, but for just that final bounce and a final mix
Yeah.
down, then it's great for that.
I
I
tend
know
to
you didn't
use
ask
it.
that question, but
Yeah, no, what's interesting about that is because I use Ableton and I use Logic. And what I tend to do is do a lot of my beats in Ableton and then I'll do a lot of my keyboards and all my vocal recording and live instrumentation when I do record that into Logic. And I do all my sound programming in Logic. But my beats and effects and stuff, I'll drop them in because it's so quick to work on Ableton.
yeah, that's the thing. It's
Um,
just it's the easiest. It's easiest, and it's I find it just the most intuitive. I find it cool. When I've tried Logic or anything like that. It just is for me personally because I know Ableton. It's just a little bit slow. Whereas with Ableton, I can just
it's a
fucking
little
bang,
bit
bang, bang.
slower. It's a
Yeah,
little bit slower, but it is a little bit more flexible in terms of when your programming sounds is what I find with Logic.
yeah,
Um, but um, but I still, yeah, Ableton I think is just one of the fastest tools. And if
bang,
anybody
bang,
out there
bang. Yeah,
wants to
totally.
get into production, I kind of would say that's a good platform to start on, and you'll wind up using it a lot. By the way, shout out to Angels of Love in Naples. A lot of Italians showing us love over here. Um, Definitely want to hopefully get back to the UK at some point in time.
Yeah,
Hopefully,
do
just
it.
we'll see when they'll let us in.
I've just seen someone say new Logic like Ableton. I've heard this. A new Logic update is like really much more similar to Ableton, right?
I've got 10.5, so I'm going to check it out. I think it does work closer
They've
to
got
it.
like a new warping function or something like that that you
Yeah,
can.
yeah. But I just think Ableton, in terms of the drag, drop, and copy, is just really quickly. And like anything, it's whatever you learn, you can, and you take your time to kind of learn the box. Then you're able to kind of really get through productions a lot quicker. I like using both because it just gives me stability, and I rewire Ableton to Logic.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, totally.
So, are you doing any? And like, do you have any outside synths that you like to bring into the production world? Or are you kind of working mostly in the box?
No, I use so this is my main one, Moog Voyager. This is what I use a lot.
Nice.
303 I use a lot. And then I've
Yep.
got my pedal bus here, so that's I have a dedicated channel for the pedals on the mixer that I send stuff out to, and then I've got compressors down here, the warm compressors, which I send, where I did kick drums and stuff. And then I use this System 8 quite a lot, the mini log. I've also got a Prophet 5, which is being fixed at the moment.
Nice.
And I've got a couple of others at home, which I've got a Sub 37 as well, but I don't really use that. In fact, I never found that. But yeah, the Moog Voyager is really the one that I go to most of the time. Just sounds great.
I tell you what, I did like the Arturia stuff. Um, they reissue kind of like remakes of
That
707.
OBX is fucking amazing.
OBX is
That's the best
crazy.
one they've done. That is like,
Yeah,
I've been using that a lot on tunes, and it's really, really the sound quality is like a level up from their normal stuff.
yeah. And I think that it's like anything. Whatever tools you use, as long as you get into it and learn how to max out and just kind of squeeze every drop out of it, that's the idea.
This
If
is
you
the
can
thing.
have the latest tech, but if you don't actually learn it, it's you never really get the most out of it. I think you just need to take whatever you have. And I always recommend when people want to start off, I'm like, start off small. If you want to start off on a laptop, cool. But if you want to start off with like a sampler and maybe a keyboard, just start off with that, learn it intimately until you can basically do handstands with it.
Mate,
Then start adding.
I say exactly the same. If you just get two VSTs and learn them inside out so that you understand synthesis, if it's a subtractive synth or an FM synth or whatever, so you get to learn the basics of that, and then whatever synth you get going forward, you're gonna know your way around it because you've learned the basics of whichever synthesizer you're using. And it's better to be a master of a couple than a jack of a load. Do you know what I mean? And so,
I mean, in the early days, my weapon of choice was always the SP-1200. That's a very New York
same with
kind of
Sneak, right? And
10.
Steve Mack.
Yeah, exactly. 10 seconds of sample time, but we squeezed it out of there. Then after that was the S950 sampler, but then it was the Juno 106 for me, and that was like my main synth for a while, and then obviously the Jupiter. So anything that you pick up, I tell people, it's just start small and learn it, and then take it to the max, and then you can start adding stuff on.
Totally, 100%, 100%.
So are you gonna Are you taking any family holidays? I'm about to go camping.
Oh, really?
Take an RV.
Fucking hell.
I'm about to go on an RV. First time I've done that, so take a couple of
Mate,
take like
it's cool,
a
man.
couple of weeks
I've
off
hired
to
an
an
RV
RV.
too. I've hired one at the end of
That's wicked.
for the first 2 weeks in August. It's crazy doing shit like this, going like on family camping holidays and stuff. I'm actually really excited about it, man. Like just doing something that's a little different rather than normally in the summer you don't get a summer holiday. You
Our summer holidays are spent on planes and look, as much as I love gigging and playing for everyone, I haven't had an actual holiday.
Yeah, man, it's cool. It's really cool to have a holiday. I just make sure that I'm not complaining about my job.
No.
My job is the best job in the world, but it is quite nice to just do some normal stuff for a very, just this 1 year where hopefully just this 1 year, fucking hope it isn't more than 1 year. Hopefully just this 1 year.
It's up to us to make this adjustment in lifestyle and to take the lessons that we're learning from this and apply it on a long-term basis. I'm going to be honest with you. Like my diet and everything that I've changed that has allowed me to drop weight, to get fitter and healthier. It's something that I plan to take into the future. But it will mean there's going to be adjustments in the amount of touring that I'll do. I'll probably not tour as frantically as we've done, or I'll do my best to kind of like make sure I carve out the personal time. But it's just about enjoying life and also taking time for the family, man.
Yeah,
it's very, very important.
Definitely, mate. Definitely.
Mate, it's so good to catch up with you, man.
Yeah,
and I know you're in lab mode, so I'm gonna let you get back to the beats. But thanks for joining me and kicking it with me. We've been talking about doing this,
Love you.
but hopefully, listen. I'm going to be working on our track. I'll send you the stems, and hopefully we'll be able to get together soon in person, right?
And I'll send you, as soon as we get off, I'll send you the vocal and you can crack on with that as well.
Yes. Get it.
Big up. Thank you,
Much
everyone.
love
Love
to
you.
everyone out there on
Cheers,
Instagram.
mate. Big up.
Much love. Peace.
Cheers.